Libertalia Winds of Galecrest was published in 2022 by Stonemaier Games. It was designed by Paolo Mori and illustrated by Lamaro Smith. Originally released in 2012 as Libertalia, this update has new gameplay elements and art. I haven't played that, so this review will be looking at everything on its own. Stonemaier Games provided this in exchange for an honest review. 1 to 6 players send their crew on 3 voyages to collect loot, cause mayhem, and gain the most doubloons. The solo game is played against 2 dummy players with their own rulebook and cards. They can be used at lower player counts too. For this review, I'm going to assume all players are human. Everyone has an identical 40 card deck. Have a player shuffle their deck, then randomly draw 6 cards. Everyone else finds the same cards in their deck. Players have the same starting cards. Each day, a single card is played and revealed simultaneously. Cards go on the island in ascending order. In case of a tie, the player with the lower reputation has their card go on the left. Each card has an icon showing when to activate their unique ability: daytime, dusk, night, or anchor. Before each voyage, seed the board with 1 loot token per player in each voyage space. Loot tokens have unique abilities to activate during the dusk, sunset, or anchor phases. Activate daytime icons, sun, on cards from left to right. Next, activate cards from right to left. The card's owner takes the loot token from that day's voyage space, then activate their card's dusk icon and or loot ability. Finally, their card goes in their play area, ship. After dusk, activate ship character night abilities in any order. Once done, begin the next day. After the entire journey, players activate their loop and ship character anchor abilities in any order. At the end of each journey, mark your doubloons on your score dial, then return them in loot tokens to the supply. Send ship characters to the graveyard. There are some exceptions to this, but that's the general rule. Reseed the board and follow setup rule to get 6 new cards, keeping any unplayed cards for the next journey. The richest pirate after 3 journeys wins. To break it down, play cards to outwit your opponents, collect loot, and gain the most doubloons. That's Libertalia Winds of Galecrest. Our games with Libertalia Winds of Galecrest average 60 minutes, including takedown and the super quick setup. This includes our learning games. We soon were finishing games in about 45 minutes. Player areas are smaller than a placemat, and even the central area is surprisingly reasonable thanks to the board design. You can get away with about 3 feet by 3 feet. Icons aren't printed on both sides, so it's easier if people sit across from one another at a rectangular table. Otherwise, make sure the upside down player knows their lefts and rights well, and is a strong raider. I'll touch on the 2-player game a bit in the next section, but I think the midshipman tiles make this surprisingly decent with 2 players. Watch out for some cards, especially if both players play them. The player with the lower reputation won't get anything if both people play the cook. With that said, this is fun with 3 players, but more enjoyable with 4. I'd like to try the full player count one day, but worry it may be too chaotic. There's not a lot of reading, but there are 4 activation icons, plus 7 for the different loot types. Their purpose, colors, and designs are thankfully distinct. There aren't many exceptions, but timing and action implications may be too difficult for even experienced gamers under 8. Have your youngest players team up with someone first so they can get the hang of things. The most important thing to keep in mind is that this is a pirate game. It's mean, and people could end up feeling hurt and or frustrated depending on their personality. In our second game of Libertalia, Winds of Galecrest, we used the 2-player midship tile. It wasn't long before me and Grandma had our first, then second tie, we started to laugh at that point, but it made me realize how important the reputation track is. I think it's more important at lower player counts because of the direct control you have. With a large group, things are out of your hands if someone else sticks it to you. Anyhow, I've got to give it to Grandma. The game was close, but she won. Not only that, but she won our 3rd game as well. That's the only one out of us not to have a win so far. Libertalia Winds of Galecrest loot tiles are acrylic. The cards feel nice and the components in general are good. As I touched on family facts, I found the graphic design to be very clear. The anthropomorphic animals have bugged many, but I like them. I think the game is very attractive. The whole sky pirate thing is a bit weird though. I don't see why they had to move this from the sea to air. Despite the activation phases, reseeding, and so on, things move quickly with little downtime. Thanks to this and approachable rules and art, less experienced gamers like Grandma can learn it. This game is chaotic. You will need to adapt to whatever comes your way. You can play cards and will usually get the chance to grab loot and or adjust reputation. Things depend on the available cards and the schemes of others. Clever players may deduce what everyone else is holding or playing based on the game state. Maybe. A pirate in the sky is still a pirate. This game is mean. Killing or discarding others on the island, mean. Stealing another player's loot, mean. Discarding a card from their ship, someone important to their engine and overall plan, mean. The daytime dusk night anchor activation mechanism is really cool. Use your current reputation to its fullest or just through cards and or loot to get the most out of a card ability. Speaking of cards, the hand management is clever. In one of our games, Dad played Bandit to lower his reputation 4 spaces in exchange for doubloons, then played Thief to steal a loot token from Mum worth more than the 2 gold he'd lose by dropping more reputation. In another game, I started a voyage with max reputation, so I had 7 doubloons. I played Carpenter to lose half my doubloons right it down. He earns 10 doubloons during anchor activation, so this was a smart move. With my next card, I played Officer to gain doubloons until I had a total of 12. The reputation track is very interesting. Everyone can always see it, and the tiebreaker, activation, and starting doubloons all rely on it. What's most important? Activating first, specific loot, doubloons meaning points, balancing everything is hard, but so important. The double-sided board has different abilities on the Stormy side, and these feel more piratey. The Saber is more strategic to choose which ship character to discard. The map tiles become more valuable as well, and not just for yourself. We saw more stealing from one another and more weighing of options when using the side. The game includes little tiles, so you can use whichever abilities you want on either side. Brilliant. Only 18 of 40 cards randomly come out each game. The order and how they play off each other, plus individual player personality and context, all mean this game feels different every time you play. Libertalia, Winds of Galecrest theme doesn't feel like an epic pirate adventure, but the way our cards and loot work together makes sense, plus it's one of the nastiest games on our shelves. This is a great introduction to bluffing and reading people. It helps that it's short, approachable, and quick. I recommend this to gamers who enjoy hand and research management and want to stick to some directly, unlike the random way usually seen in many lighter games.